What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus. We are on the backside of a 2-0 victory to Monza, but we have a cost with that victory as Yildiz makes a very, very rash decision and immediately felt the regret. And now we're all looking into a big back-to-back with Bologna and Lazio. And we add to that Lloyd Kelly injured. We'll take a look at that. Matt doesn't seem to be bothered by it. As he says, nothing of value was lost, but we will take a look at all of this together right now. I'm happy to have Mas and Frankie with me. Frankie, how you doing, brother?
Doing good. Good game first half. Not so much after the red card, so let's talk about it.
Oh yeah, we'll have we got plenty to talk about in comfortable, great first half, but yeah, we can't have nice things. There always has to be something there, right? Always has to be some adverse thing or a little bit of chaos, just a little bit of chaos. Mas, how you doing this morning, brother?
It's the day after a win, guys. So I mean, how can it be bad, right? I woke up this
Victory
morning,
Monday.
the sun's shining. It's a victory Monday. Let's do it.
There you go. There you go. And, of course, as mentioned, the only real headlines coming around today are the injury to Lloyd Kelly, which seems to be 14 days that he's going to be out for. And then, of course, Yildiz, as we wait for what the word is from the sporting judge that actually should be coming out fairly soon. If it doesn't come out today, it'll be tomorrow. That's how quick they usually act on these things. And then we'll know what the extent is. But usually whenever it's, labeled violent conduct, you usually get another one. However, there have been scenarios this season, just saying, where there hasn't been anything extra that are probably worse scenarios than that one. So maybe, just maybe, because Juve's where they're at, trying to chase top four, and he wears a black and white kit, he might just get a little bit more than some others have got. Just saying it. Just saying it. Okay? Now, we've never seen that before, though, hey?
No.
Odd or, strange treatment to Juve? No, that's not a thing.
He'll probably end up getting like 5 games. Never mind.
Yeah.
Rest of the season, gone.
We might even get a point deduction for him, for a player getting violent conduct. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? We're going to take a look at this game with, start off obviously with the starting lineups, and then we'll get to the news and aftermath. And I'm still always checking on the ticker for news. Kolo Muani also in the news, and he's in because of obviously the status on his future. So we'll get to that when we talk about player performances coming out of this game, as Kolo Muani will be mentioned. All right. So the starting lineup was Di Gregorio, Kalulu, Vega, Kelly, McKennie, Locatelli, Thuram, Cambiaso, Nico Gonzalez, Yildiz, and Kolo Muani. Did you have anything that you thought about you might have changed when you saw that starting lineup for this game? It is pretty straightforward. Some fans felt McKennie might need a break. He's looked gassed early in games. How'd you guys feel when you saw that starting lineup? Were you fine with all of it? I thought maybe Nico Gonzalez could move into that role and we could play somebody else up advanced like Chico Conceição. In the end, worked out decent for Nico. But were you thinking any changes there? We'll start with Mas before we get to Frankie.
Yeah, no, you nailed it with Chico. I would have liked to have seen Chico. I mean, we keep debating whether we're going to keep this guy or not, but we don't put him on the field to actually see what he's made of, right? So that's a bit frustrating to me, right? I mean, you're playing the last place team in the league. I wouldn't have minded seeing Perrine get some minutes there either. I have full trust in him as a backup keeper. But, yeah, you're also right. McKennie, we'll talk about it after, but it's been a few weeks, if not more, that he's looked off. So any rest we could have given him would have been good, I guess.
Yeah. Frankie, what do you think?
Probably McKennie. Not starting McKennie. It's going to sound weird, but I do like a lot what I've seen of Augusto when he comes from the bench. I think in that position as a right wing back, I think he can do a lot of things for us, and he can be a more natural player for that position. And because it was against Monza, I think, oh, maybe it's a good game to play him. And McKinney needs a rest. I didn't think that we're gonna play Chico. Frankly, that's my opinion. We're not gonna get Constantino. Uh, I don't think so. I think that he's not gonna play that much until the rest of the season. So if you ask me one change, probably that's the only one I would think about. Not playing McKinney, playing another player in that position.
Yeah. Because we don't get you on nearly often enough as we'd love to see you, Frankie, and you brought up Chico. I'd love to know your thoughts. Like, do you, because so your thoughts are that we are not going to retain him or pick him up, but do you want to see him retained, or are you okay with just saying no at that 30 million release?
It's not the player. I just think that the coaches that we're linked with, and even if we stay with Tudor, it doesn't make any sense to keep the player, because even though he does play with wing backs and wing players, he adapts them to that role of a number 10 playing behind the striker. I don't see Chico as a player that fits that style of Tudor. It's just me. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I think if we play in a 4-3-3 or any style, I would be screaming just stay with the guy, because I do think he's a very good player. He does have things that he needs to work with, especially decision making at the end. But I just don't see it, especially with all the players that we need to bring in, strikers, in all those situations. I think Juve is going to say maybe we should not try to get this 30 millions in this player. Maybe try to use it on a striker, or maybe on that dream scenario in which they bring Tonali to Juventus and all that. So I don't think so.
Yeah. It kind of feels that way. It definitely kind of feels that way. Now let's get into these highlights. We're going to rip through this game in highlights, because really we only got to talk about the first half, because we saw what happened with the second half after, obviously, the Yildiz situation. But 5 minutes into this one, Kolo Muani's going for that bike, baby. Unfortunately, right at Durati. But, hey, I like the attempt, and let's keep it rolling. Good. Something that's been consistent, I'd say, for Tudor, which I liked, and it was not consistent prior, is the energy and attitude to start games is more often than not where it needs to be. And I appreciate that, especially when you're playing teams like this, because, you know, obviously the teams that Tudor has had to face so far have been pretty good, you know, in terms of opponents. But let's not beat around the bush. We were dropping points against the similar opposition earlier on in the season. It didn't matter who the hell we were playing against. So yeah, this is a positive. This is something good that we've seen in the change, is that more often than not, the energy, the attitude, especially to start the game, we're starting when the whistle blows, which is beautiful, because that wasn't happening before. So this was no different, and it keeps that rolling. 7th minute in, Monza's Birindelli launches a counterattack, obviously denied by Michele Di Gregorio, who honestly didn't have a lot of work, but made all the right decisions in when he had to cut things off, when he had to attack crosses and whatnot, and he was sharp in that sense. 11th minute in, I don't even know with this guy anymore, you know. He put a couple errant weighted passes through, and then all of a sudden Nico Gonzalez collects just on like inside Monza's half, and he just cuts in, feints, takes a shot from like 26, 25 yards out, and it's just a dart, one hopper into the corner. Beautiful strike. This guy, man, I can't figure him out, because he'll do something like that and then like a lot of decisions fall apart. But this was a beautiful goal, and it was a perfect situation for Juve, because we were facing Monza, who set up, you know, 3-5-2, which those guys on the outside set up that wall just like Parma did. So getting that goal early, beautiful. Monza can now either open up, try to get something, or we're okay controlling and continuing to work the way we were. Beautiful stuff though, man. But Nico, he's killing me, man. He's all over the map. Like, beautiful goal though, right? Come on.
Yeah.
The one thing we know about Nico is he works hard, right? We've said that all season long.
Yeah.
And the talent is there, right? Coming off of, last season, there's a reason we picked the guy up, right? The talent doesn't just disappear. And you saw it from that shot, right?
He's just got to score against more teams than Monza.
Yeah,
he got his last one against them too. So
he needs some results from the work that he's putting in, right? Which it's been few and far between this season, but the talent is there, right?
On the watch along, I said, man, there's one thing, like when he comes off that pitch, it looks like he's not even wearing a kit because it's just drenched. And that guy gives you every last ounce of energy he has, which is, it's great, it's commendable. But at the same token, it's like that needs to be a given for anybody that's out there. Like if you're out there and we can't say that you worked hard, well, then what the hell are we doing, right? So...
Yeah.
But it's just I think that's the part that frustrates me the most is because he'll show you what he can do, but more often than not, that final decision is just needs to be sharper. But man, what a goal, Frankie! Your thoughts on Nico there?
Definitely, great goal, and he's a worker. He works hard. Yeah. He tries. He definitely tries. So. I always try to cut him some slack just because all the changes in his position, because he started playing like a right winger under Thiago Motta, then he was moved to left winger, then he was moved to right wing back under Tudor. Now he plays sometimes more in a more advanced role as a number 10. So I understand that there's going to be some confusion on the way he plays. Does he needs to be better? Yeah. He needs to be better. But he gives the effort, he tries, and he scored a banger. That goal was a banger.
That was a beauty. That was a beauty.
Beautiful shot. So at the end of the day, I much rather have players like that give you the effort. And sometimes the final the goal doesn't come, but he tries to give you the effort. That players that don't give you the effort and are just lacking off, and the team suffers for it. So
it was a beautiful goal from Nico, and he needed it. Hopefully he can carry it into the upcoming matches, because I don't see him being removed from the starting 11 whatsoever for Tudor. He's going to be a lock. I think we see that unfolding, and especially with Yildiz in that situation. Now 13th minute, couple minutes after taking the 1-0 lead, Danny Motta appeals for a penalty after having a 50-50 battle. Questionable positioning from Lloyd Kelly. And you see him on the replay holding that arm for dear life as Motta turns that corner, comes in there. In the end, Di Gregorio gets the ball. He's lobbying. Were you nervous about that situation? Or no, not at all? Because the ref immediately... Ref immediately said no, but Mas, you were nervous?
Yeah, I've seen softer given, so I was a bit nervous for sure.
It felt like it was just that extra split second, just a little too long, and like he's trying to pull away, and I'm like, I don't know, but the ref immediately said no, but it was sketchy. It was sketchy. Yeah. Frankie, were you nervous?
Yeah, it was a lot, not a bit, a lot, because I was worried because those kind of penalties are given sometimes, especially against us.
Yeah,
but I will say that they were just the two of them were battling, so that's the thing that helped us at the end. Lloyd was the one left with the hand at the cookie jar, so that's the problem. Like they were battling it out, and when the camera rolled on the play, Lloyd was the one who would grab me on the arm and all that. But when you see the whole play, you see that the striker is also grabbing. So maybe that's why I think the referee said, no, it's not a penalty. They are both grabbing each other. But if you only see that last shot, man, Lloyd Kelly looks ugly.
Yeah, it was dicey. Nonetheless, we come through unscathed. We carry forward. The team doing what they were doing before when Nico got that goal, controlling the ball, controlling the play, actually playing with a good tempo. Holy man, Locatelli was just threading the needle on through balls, breaking the lines beautifully. So the same guy that we were just sketched out about, he was getting in great positions in the final third, and it was the wrong guy, right place for Lloyd Kelly. And if they could have just made an adjustment there and I was saying, it makes more sense if you're playing this type of setup that your outside center backs, when they pull forward, go to the outside. And that pulls your wing back kind of like if Cambiasso was in those situations as opposed to Lloyd Kelly. And Cambiasso is a guy we need to get rolling. It would have been better off for us and paid more dividends rather than Cambiasso staying to the outside and holding that flank and Lloyd Kelly ripping in there. He sent one shot to the moon. I still don't think it landed. And the other one was a worm burner that easily got cleared by the first guy. But we were working it well. Locatelli was pulling the strings quite nicely. I thought that was a brilliant first half of play from him. 33rd minute, we keep on the pressure. We keep going at him. We get a turnover. We pass it to Kolomuani, and the defender in front of him bails. This opens up a little bit of a opportunity for him before Calderola could come over, and he slots it home back post. He also missed a good opportunity to score earlier on, and guys had moments here and there where it wasn't quite falling, but in the end, 2-0 lead, and we're cooking. We're looking great. Perfect multi-goal lead. Guys, we go into halftime. We cruise. We get ready for Bologna. Well, Keenan Yildiz wants to have a say about this as he gets into it with Bianco. And it's away from the ball. You see him look at the player and then do it. It's like, come on. And he may have been trying to like just kind of get away with it and hide it a bit and like kind of like forearm shove, and then but he goes up, and it's just, you just can't do that. And why are you doing it? You know, all these things you have to carry into the game as a player. Understand what your team's position is, understand the upcoming games, like, and I get it, they want to talk about the youth thing and everything and experience, but to be honest, we've seen older experienced guys do this with Juve too. Like, it's just, whatever the hell Bianco said, it got him. It got him. A hook, line, and sinker. I mean, Materazzi got Zinedine Zidane in a World Cup final to lose his cool, you know? So these things happen. But man, does it look bad. Does it ever look bad? Brutal, brutal stuff. There's no defense for it.
No, of course not.
No.
From what I was reading this morning, I didn't see it, but he was being pulled before that play from Bianco, so I guess that probably just set him off. He got annoyed, and he made a mistake. What it is, it's basically the perfect definition of what Juve's season's been this far, right? Pretty solid first half, and then it just can't go smooth the entire way. Something has to happen, right?
Always has to be.
It's been like
something.
that. It's been like that all season long. Listen, at the end of the day, he's a young kid. He made a mistake. He's going to learn from it, and then we move on, right? It was just a boneheaded play at a really bad time of year, right? Where we're going to need him the next 2 games, and he probably won't be there. So it's unfortunate for sure.
Yeah,
and that's the big problem, the time of the year when this happens. Because if this happens, let's say before the Parma game, and you say, oh, he's going to get 2-game ban.
Yeah.
You are not thinking we need Yildiz to beat Parma, even though we probably needed him. But you're not thinking that. But if you're playing against Bologna, against Lazio back-to-back, you're definitely thinking you're going to need the player. Mistake, complete mistake. It was a red card. There's no doubt about it. When I saw it, I was like, oh.
We knew right away. Everybody on the watch is like, that's red. No, straight red.
It's red. It's red, and I would much rather him just pushing the guy. Like, you push the guy, and maybe the referee goes out of jail. Oh, you're not supposed to push nobody. You're frustrated, but you go and you try to. He's not gonna say he tried to punch him in the face. He tried to punch the guy in the face. We all know it. That we all have been there. We get angry. We do things we're not supposed to do. And it's a shame because we're playing good, and it was frankly a good game to have a good result, to go to the Bologna game thinking, okay, we play good against Monza, we got a good result, let's try to beat Bologna. But now we get this, it damages the win for me a lot.
Yeah, it does. It puts a nasty stain on it. Put a stain on the second half, and that's essentially, we were limited. All we could do was set up our shell, and stay within it and just try to drag that out and hold on to that lead. And you know what? Despite being a man down, Juve actually controlled things quite nicely. They didn't even give up one big chance the entire match, and that includes an entire second half being down a man. They limited Monza. Monza wanted to try to get some better opportunities, and in the end, all they could do was cross it. Di Gregorio read those as well as any keeper could, and the rest we handled. I think Vega he threw his head in front of a shot like crazy. It was a hard shot, and he didn't care. He knew where he was standing, and he sacrificed his dome for that one. Kelly was making some decent clearances aerially. Locatelli from one half to the next, man. The first half, he was cooking on the ball, dictating everything. Second half, he showed you the defensive grit that he carries, and he was all over the place. It was business, and we walk away 2-0. Unscathed? Well, we see moving forward. Obviously, a lot of jokes around Lloyd Kelly. He's out 14 days. And now Keenan Yildiz, we wait to see what the verdict is on this incident after the red card, all right? But before we get into that, I will drop the player ratings. We'll show you what these came away with their ratings, and then we'll talk about player performances and our man of the match, all right? So I'm just going to share the ratings for now. Di Gregorio, a 7.6. Whew! That's high. You did a good job, but that's pretty damn high. Kalulu, 6.9. Vega, 7.8. I did have him in the mix. For man of the match. Lloyd Kelly, 7.2. McKennie, 6.9. Locatelli, 7.8. Thuram, 7.4. Cambiasso at a 7. Nico Gonzalez with the first goal, which ended up being the game winner, at 6.6 despite that. And then Keenan Yildiz, a 5.9. As you see, red eliminated from the match. And Kolomuani with a 7.6. The official man of the match was Nico Gonzalez. And in the Italian media today, every single outlet raved about Nico Gonzalez's performance. They all had him unanimously as man of the match, with, I think the lowest one he got was 7.5. So, man, actually Cotosport gave him 7 with still being man of the match, but it was unanimously man of the match with all the media. He actually was not my man of the match. Was he your man of the match?
Nope.
No, for neither of you. Okay, brilliant. So I'll just name my 4. We'll see if we were all on the same line for performances. My 4 I would be looking at are Vega, Locatelli. I had Nico Gonzalez in the mix, and I also had Kolomuani in the mix. Those were the 4 that the discussion would be about. Do we agree on that?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. By the numbers, Nico Gonzalez, 1 goal, 2 of his 3 shots were on target, 32 touches, 20 out of 24 passes completed for 83%, 2 key passes, 4 successful dribbles, which was the game high, 2 fouls, 1 tackle. He was subbed off at the 74th minute. Kolomuani, goal in the 33rd minute, 3 shots, which was the team high. Broke a 79-day goal drought. Holy smokes. My goodness. Drier than the Sahara Desert over there. Let's go. Locatelli, 58 touches, 90% pass accuracy, 2 key passes, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, 5 out of 7 duels won, 1 foul committed. Vega, 51 touches, 28 for 33 on passes for 85%, 3 for 5 on long balls completed, 2 key passes, 1 assist, 11 clearances, 3 block shots, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles won, 4 out of 5 for duels won, 0 fouls committed, which is strange because he got a yellow card, so they're wrong on that one. And that wasn't even a yellow, by the way. That was a great challenge at the halfway line. I thought he was harsh on that yellow. Man of the match, who was yours? We'll start with Frankie.
It's probably not gonna be a lot of people man of the match, but I did like a lot of Colomwani in this game, and not just because of the first time goal and the first half goal, because of what he did the second half. I did sign work, and man, I do think if Nico Gonzalez made better decisions, he would probably have scored at least one more goal. Because he positioned himself extremely good on counters, and he was good on counters, and he did well in those positions, and he worked, and he tried to go back and try to defend, and you saw him running, and it's not easy for a striker when you're one man down to position yourself in a good way to score, and I believe he did, and I think that if not for the bad decision of Nico Gonzalez, Colomwani scores at least one more goal. And if he scores 2, there's no way nobody's saying he's not the man of the match. So, for me, Colomwani was the guy. I know Renato Vega played a great game.
Yeah.
But for me, Colomwani.
All right. Mas, who's yours?
Listen, I haven't hid my love of Renato Vega very well. For me, it was Vega. You heard those stats. The guy was a monster back there, right? Yeah. Not to take anything away from Luca's performance, because he was strong. You could even have Cole men of the match. But for me, it was Vega. I mean, my dream next season is to have Vega and Bremer starting side by side as our 2 top center backs. That would be my preference. Don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's a young defender that has so much upside. I love the way he plays. I love his attitude, everything about it. I think he's a Juve player to the core. So for me, it was Vega, 100%.
Say it's the mustache too. Come on, we can say it. The mustache.
It might be the mustache.
A kick to the old school. A kick to the old school with the duster there. Okay.
Yeah.
Vega was huge. I have Locatelli. Because he just, like I said, he showed you both sides to his game, and this season is just a continuation for him. He's been steady Eddie the entire way through. Yeah, I don't know. That first half, he was running everything, and that's what we need. I hope he can continue to do that, but breaking the lines like that, feeding everybody, I think that Tudor has probably done the most in terms of, like, with Mota, you still had a third guy in there, right? Most, like, a lot of the times, Cope Miners. But even when he's around with Tudor, since Tudor's coming up, like, Tudor's pushing for Thuram and Luca to still get forward, get involved. Don't be safe, even if it's just a 2-man pivot, right? Like, we're seeing them get way up the pitch. And it's my one thing with Thuram is I felt like he's become a bit of a passenger since Tudor's come around. He still does his part, but in this game, he had the opportunities to drive the ball more. He obviously made that final pass to Colomwani that led to that goal. He needs to be doing what makes him strong, which is driving the ball out of there and running at defenses and then distributing and carrying forward. So we can't lose everything. Locatelli needs to do what he was doing yesterday, and he can't be scared to back off of it. It's just everything else has to work. But there's been a lot of changes with this team, a lot of personnel, like, and then the coach, like, it's a lot to take in, but I appreciate the guys that have remained steady through all that. Locatelli was great. It was great. I'm going to give it to him. And I'd say that you have an argument for all the other guys. And even Nico Gonzalez, that none of us actually picked as a man of the match. He did have a performance that was, I think, worthy of it as well. And a beautiful first goal to kick things off. So great stuff there from those guys. Now, we sit in fourth. We're waiting for, obviously, another couple matches to hit in there as we have a game in hand on Bologna. We're at 62 points. Atalanta only picking up a draw there yesterday. Okay. Roma getting a big win day prior. Lazio has a game in hand. They're at 59 points. They can equalize us with a victory. Fiorentina's at the same amount of matches played, 34, with 59 points, 3 behind us. It's going to get tight. And like I said, now we got Bologna and Lazio, and Kenan Yildiz with that moment will probably be missing both Bologna and Lazio. My question to all of you is, everyone's talking about Yildiz, and some people were bringing it up in the watch along yesterday that, now everybody's just hot on get rid of this guy, sell him for whatever the fee is over this situation. And I said, to the question that was asked, I don't feel that has anything to do with being reactionary over the situation. I feel that those people already made their mind that they're okay to sell him for a big fee for this club, and this just adds a little fuel to their thought process. But for me, it doesn't change anything, and I want to retain Kenan Yildiz. I mean, it has nothing to do with this situation. This situation would never make me want to say you got to go to any player. Like, it can't. If people are saying that they're okay, or like, yeah, get rid of this guy, immature, whatever. Well, what does that mean for Pavel Nedved, who got himself to miss a Champions League final in 2003? Should we have gotten rid of him in 2003? Hell no.
That was one of the
Gigi Buffon. Remember Oliver?
That was one of the big things that bothered me post game about that. The people that just jumped off the bandwagon, right?
Yeah, so quick.
The kid made one mistake. It doesn't erase everything he's done so far and the talent that he possesses and the potential that he possesses, right? I mean, if anything, hold him for another couple of years where his value is going to be even higher, and then if you want to sell him, get rid of him. But right now, we lack such players with that kind of creativity, right? Chico's another example. Like, that's why I want to bring him back. You need guys like that. You need skilled players like that. It's very few and far between on our team, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, he made a mistake. What are you going to do?
Yeah. There's nothing. Yeah, just a mistake. I mean, and I stand firm. If anybody is saying things like that, I mean, they just are okay to let this kid go. But I'm not there. I'd like to see him stay 100%, continue to develop with us and go. He's as close to a Lamine Yamal that we have or will see probably for some time. Like, you keep going with this thing. You keep going with this thing.
Yeah. I'm not saying just doing Serie A. There's no player with the age that Yildiz has, the talent and the projection. There's no player in Serie A like him. None. If you ask any team in Serie A, would you bring Kenan Yildiz? It doesn't matter the team. They will say yes. If you ask any Premier League team, they will say yes.
A player a lot of us would take back in a heartbeat. He makes a lot of fans all-time 11. Paulo Montero was sent off 16 bloody times in Serie A, man. Like, just a record. All right. He had that fire to him. He made decisions all the time where like, oh man, but you still loved him because you knew what he brought. And he knew that, it was an element to his game that the other team was like, man, I don't know with this guy back there. Like, what's going to happen today? Like the screws are loose. But that was Montero, right? It's not to say that Yildiz is that guy or that it's probably never going to happen again. but you can't make a decision based on this. On the flip side, Kolo Muani has found himself, like I said, he broke the goal drought of, what was it, like 79 days I think I had on there, breaking the 79-day goal drought. And now all of a sudden it's keep from the fan base. Keep Kolo Muani from the fan base. He scored his first goal in 79. He had a good game. Everything Frankie said about his performance was true and spot on. I still don't know about keeping Kolo Muani. So for the news headlines today, Mirko Di Natale reiterates everything he said for the past month. There are meetings in place with PSG. Juventus wants to extend another loan and then have the purchase at the back side of it. Do you think that's the best case and that's the best move, the right move for Juventus? Frankie. And then we'll get to Mas.
If the price is right, yes. Yes, because we get two different types of strikers. We're going to get a striker regardless in the transfer window. But do we really need to just, if the price is right, just say no to Kolo Muani, who's a guy that's already here, who has played, who has given us good performances, and who's frankly different than any other striker that we're looking to bring in? Because the type of striker Kolo Muani is, there's none other kind of striker like that on the transfer window. None. His characteristics are different. So if Juve is able to get a loan and the right price at the end of that loan, and you are still able to get another striker that you think fits Juventus, I don't see it as a bad situation. I much rather get the guy that we have, and then, because Vlahovic is going to leave regardless, bring a striker that the coach, Tudor or Conte, I don't know who the coach is going to be next year, that coaches approve. But it all depends on the price. I'm not paying 60 million for Kolo Muani. No. If that's the price, no. But if we're talking about a loan, and then maybe 40 or maybe 35, then we're talking.
Mas, what do you think? Where are you at on Kolo Muani?
Yeah, I would definitely not buy him outright this summer. There's so many different variables in the air, right? I mean, we don't know who our coach is going to be next year, right? Is he going to fit into those plans? I would like to see him on a loan for another year to see, with a new manager, how he performs. I'm still not convinced that he's a striker that could lead your line for a full season. I think he's still mentally fragile, to be honest. So I don't know if you can rely on him at this point, to be honest. He seems very streaky. So yeah, I would definitely not buy him outright. An option, if it had to be, an option to buy, then I'd be good with that after this next season. Yeah. But I don't know. I think there's better strikers out there. But at the end of the day, we had this argument before. Any striker you bring in, we're having trouble generating offense for those strikers.
Chances, right? And service for them. You're right. So, yeah.
So who knows? Who we bring in, it won't be convincing as well, right? Like a possibility. So I'm good with a loan and then see how he does, to be honest.
I'm looking at this and I'm not convinced by Kolo Muani. It's like, yeah, he does. Frankie's right in saying he possesses different traits, characteristics to the other guys we're targeted with, but I don't necessarily know if it's better. Like when he got the opportunities out on the wing, when he first came in too with Malta, he was used out on the wing a couple times in some scenarios and change up to play and whatnot. If he was stronger in those showings too, then I'd say, okay, the versatility definitely plays in, but it wasn't 100%. And I feel like he's not physically strong enough to be that guy. Like I watched up until yesterday, and yesterday he was battling with Calderola decently. But he did his damage running away from it and finding space and getting on the ball and then finding ways to turn and go at defenses with his speed. When that game isn't there for him, and when we've seen the tight setups, and he has to man up and get physical, then he's not the right guy, right? So if we get Kolo Muani, there has to be another profile that can do that, because that's also something that Dusan has struggled for. And despite his physique, the muscles and everything, it's never translated, and he gets bullied by teenagers sometimes, Dusan. But that's those are my main concerns with Kolo Muani. Alone with an option, I'm okay with. But I don't know if I have Kolo Muani at the top of the list, like with the guys that we're targeting. I don't think I have him there.
No.
And you look at it, if Conte is going to be the guy next season, he needs that, physical number 9, right? And
I almost feel like Kolo Muani also doesn't really make sense for Tudor, to be quite honest. Like,
yeah.
I almost feel like it's also not maybe the right guy for him. Like, we saw Tudor go to Vlahovic because Vlahovic would probably be the guy more ideal for the physical type battle, beating that target guy. Like, Tudor and Conte share a lot of similarities in the approach and how they see things playing out on the pitch. And it made sense to me why he went to Vlahovic predominantly and why it took a knock before you see Kolo Muani getting back in. But I don't know. I feel like that's not the guy. That's not the guy. And if we're going at the other targets, I don't have Kolo Muani higher than, honestly, a Jonathan David. I don't have Kolo Muani higher than Jonathan David. I don't.
I understand that. And when we talk about the other targets, we're talking about probably Osimhen, a target like Retegui, which is my favorite. He is definitely my favorite striker of all, including Osimhen.
We talked about him yesterday on the pregame because he's got a price tag of 50 million euros. But I don't know if I strike at 50 million on Retegui. Would you, Frankie?
I do.
For 50?
Wow. I saw him at Genoa, and at Genoa, even though the numbers are not there, because obviously he was playing in Genoa, and it's difficult to be a striker in those kind of.
It was
teams.
about 9 goals, 3 assists in that season for Genoa. 31 appearances, I think.
Yeah, but he was injured a lot of the season, and he bullied people. You see his intensity, and you see how strong he is. And I like him a lot because he creates a lot of things. And it also depends on the manager that you have. If we're talking about Tudor, who's going to play a lot of the game in the opponent's half, a striker like Retegui, who is incredibly cool under pressure in the opponent's area, is very difficult to have. There's not a lot of strikers that can move the way he does in this opponent's area. That's my favorite striker. If you line up Osimhen, Retegui, Jonathan David, I don't care. I'm picking Retegui all day over Osimhen. And I know it sounds crazy, but I do enjoy watching him move inside the area, the movement, the battles that he has with the defenders. And that's what I like a lot. I think he's probably the most complete striker in Serie A right now. And at that price, 50, if we are talking about bringing Osimhen, you're going to pay something like that, regardless. So that's why I'm saying I like Retegui a lot, man. I will pay the 50 million. Obviously, I don't think Juventus is in that situation that they can pay the 50 million for Retegui. I do understand that. But if we had the money and if we were in a good situation that we could and we needed a striker, that's the guy I bring in for me.
The thing with Retegui that I appreciate that I'd be like, back last summer, I was like, bring him in. 25 million, like 30 million. I was like, okay, you know what? 30's a little bit of a stretch. They got him for 17. at Atalanta. Like, that's a steal. That's
I
a
was
steal.
so angry.
So if we had him for 17, no, but what I appreciate about him when you watch him is that he can sniff out a goal, and that's what you need from strikers. He can sniff out a goal out of like nothing, or you think he's not even involved, and then it's just like boom, bang, boom, like he's striking. But we also have to figure out, like, right now we're gauging strikers and everything, and I feel like the majority of us are looking at guys that can make something happen out of nothing, which Retegui is not that guy. But we shouldn't be looking at that, because that's a fault in our game. We need to correct that no matter who the hell you bring in. It isn't normal to have any striker, because if you look at some of the best guys, a Lewandowski, a Haaland, they need the service. So for us to say, oh, these guys are not for Juve, we need guys. No, that's wrong of us. We need to get the game, okay, developed so that we can feed whoever the hell the striker is, even if it is somebody that possesses qualities that they can create something on their own accord. You still have to fix that part of our game. And I feel like sometimes we're getting this tunnel vision when we look at targets and we devalue them because of the failure that's come in our gameplay overall and what we've seen with the guys we currently have here. So it leads people to feel like, he doesn't have that overall, that all around, and it maybe devalues the guy in some of our fans' eyes, right? But for me, two wrongs don't make a right. Like, I'm okay with whatever type of profile the striker is, but that part of our game has to be corrected, and we have to create more, and you have to get those guys fed. Mas Retegui, 50 million.
I'm just really scared about touching anybody from Atlanta right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah. Yeah, I
Because he's leading the league now. He's 23 goals. Is that, because of Atalanta?
Listen, he's about to break Inzaghi's record on that team for scoring in a season. So he's obviously put together a season. He's obviously a player. Has he done it consistently yet to be able to go for 50 million? I'd question that a bit. I'm not. If it's me, I'm not bringing in any striker until I have a coach. To be honest, I want to, and I'm with that with pretty much all our transfers. I want to see a manager in there first, and then make some decisions. Is he worth 50 million? I'm sure outside of Italy, somebody will give him 70. Right? It wouldn't surprise me, but it's a little rich for me at 50 right now.
Yeah, it seems just a bit high, and we should be like, guys, co-miners. You see what happened there? Let's bump her down a little bit. Let's sharpen the pencil there. You also just picked him up for 17. Take it easy. Take it easy. You don't have to cash out immediately. But I'm sketchy on the whole thing.
But if we're talking about service, can we not say that with Tudor, the strikers have had better service than with Motta? Because it's been a bit better for the strikers, a bit better overall.
Not by much.
Because our numbers are actually statistically down in chances created, and especially big chances from Motta to Tudor.
But when you watch the game, I've seen a lot of chances that Vlahovic blew off just because he wasn't good. A lot of times I was like, oh, you guys scored that. Oh, you got to control that. Oh, that's in the area. That's a good chance. Colomwani had at least 3-4 chances to score goals, and he only scored one. So I'm talking about Tudor. With Tudor, I cannot say, oh, we're not giving the strikers good enough service, because we talk about it when we were talking about the game. Colomwani had at least one more chance. It was one-on-one with the goalkeeper. So he at least needed to have 2 goals yesterday. Vlahovic, there were games where he should have scored more than 1 goal, and he didn't. I'm not saying we're perfect. We definitely need to fix some things. But that's why I enjoy, or I want Retegui, because I do believe that if we stay with Tudor or with Conte, we're going to get that better service. And that's a striker that fits both molds, because Retegui is a big guy. He's not a small striker. So even Conte is gonna work with a good striker, the striker that fits him because he's big. And with Tudor, if you give Retegui to Tudor, he's gonna, I think it's gonna work more than with Jonathan David, who is a different kind of striker.
Yeah, I actually think Jonathan David's my top pick, especially being on a free, even with the demands and stuff. I don't know. I think out of the bunch, it makes sense to go after a guy that's on a free if he's willing to give in on the demands a bit to match our numbers. That would be a great choice for us. And then on the back side of it, yeah, like a Luca. I'm even good with Kristovic as well if it has to be Kristovic. Yeah. Like, I'm fine with one of those guys as an option. I would like a different profile. Somebody big, an aerial target like Luca would be valuable, especially to a team that sucks at set pieces all of a sudden. 2-3 goals all year, set pieces. We need some work. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Juve maneuvers. And Tudor himself, like you talked about, it's better with Tudor. It's definitely more direct. It's not such a lateral game compared to Motta, which was grossly lateral. To be fair, even Allegri, a lot of lateral play, which was very slow, which led us to be very, very predictable as well. A lot more direct play with Tudor. And yeah, that should, generally speaking, help the attackers playing in that direct fashion. So they are getting, more in terms of moments and opportunities. In terms of chances, the final third place still needs to get better. How do you feel about Tudor so far now that we've got 4 games remaining before Club World Cup, where he's supposed to also still lead us in the Club World Cup? I thought the substitutions yesterday, I was a little sketched out about Big Mac. He looked gassed to me. I wouldn't have taken Kefren Turam out of that game. However, McKennie just kept trucking along, got the job done. We saw Alberto Costa come in. He's got a little fire to him. Got into a little scuffle there, and I liked it, to be honest. Savona came in. We had one right side. It was Costa ahead of Savona, and it was all hands on deck. But how do you feel about Tudor so far? Is your confidence level increased? Is it at the same as when he came in? We'll start with Mas.
No, he's definitely come in and made things a lot simpler, a lot more organized. I think you mentioned it earlier on, just the fact that we're able to come out in games and maintain that level of intensity, wave after wave of pressure on the other team. I think that's definitely improved from Motta. Am I sitting here and saying, listen, this is the guy for us next season? I'm not even close to that yet, but there's definitely, aside from the final third, which is obviously a problem still, I think he's done a pretty good job based on the situation he came into, right?
Yeah. Frankie, Tudor.
I think he has done a good job. I was expecting him to be good because he has experience coming into teams in difficult situations, working with them and improving them. So I was not that surprised, frankly. I think he has done a lot of good in terms of the dressing room. It looks a lot better. We don't hear near as close of bad situations. And even though when we do have bad moments, we did have that at the game against Genoa, if I'm not mistaken, where the substitutions came in flat.
Yeah.
And he went directly at them and said, "You were not good. You need to have a different attitude." And then in the press conference, he just went for the next game. He went, "I already talked about him. We talk about it with the players. We're good." So I do think that he, as a Juve coach, he understands what he needs to do. Do I think he's right now 100% the coach for next year? No, because we need to explore options, taking into consideration the manner in which we have tried to get new coaches, try to organize the institution. And we talk about options. there's not a lot of options, if I'm frankly, other than Conte, because I don't think Klopp is gonna get out of Red Bull to coach us. So other than Conte, there's not a lot of options. So if we're talking about next year, I will wait. If Juventus want Conte and Conte can come back, then I will explore that option. But other than that, he hasn't shown me nothing to say Tudor cannot be the coach next year. Yeah, the Parma game was horrendous, but it wasn't. Everybody was horrendous in that game.
Yeah, I think he's done a good job. I mean, it was such a mess before that we can't forget. Like, it was such a mess before. He's literally, like I said, he hasn't, reinvented the wheel by any means. He just simplified. Sometimes, keeping it simple is the best route. And it's kind of shown that that's been better for this group. You don't get the wild shifts in positions and transitions. Like, guys just get lost and we lose the ball and then we're absolutely ruined like we were with Mota. Like, it just became an absolute shit show out there. Tudor's kept it simple, clean. He said all the right things in terms of how he's addressed situations that have arisen. Even with this Keenan Yildiz situation, said, you know what? The kid felt bad. He made a mistake. He knew it. He wanted to hide in the locker room. He gives his all. He loves the game of football. He lives it. And he's feeling bad about it. But luckily and thankfully, we bailed him out for it. And that's what the team's all about. Bailing each other out because mistakes are going to happen. Love it. Easy, clean, done, handled. Nothing to... we don't have to pour gasoline on something. It was a mistake, it happened. But now, top four is tight. We would have loved to have Keenan Yildiz in for Bologna. We don't. Bologna's going to pose a very, very difficult matchup, I feel. They are in great, great form. In the last 5, it's 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. They're, 1 game in hand on us. They can overtake us. Roma's in great form too, right behind us. So, Roma's got a very difficult schedule, though. Everyone's got to remember that. Roma's got probably the toughest 4 games remaining out of the bunch, so that helps us. But Juve Bologna is going to be very, very difficult. Italiano doing a fantastic job there. And it's he's finding ways to get those results. He's rolling with a 4-2-3-1. Which was exactly what they were playing last year. He's got arguably a worse roster than they had last year. But he's utilizing Orsolini. He's just doing what Orsolini does. He was a name I also threw out there last summer that I would be happy if Juve were to try and pick up. If we were going to try to link up some guys for Mota, Orsolini would have been a name I have there. But this is going to be an interesting matchup for us. And the first storm the barn is actually, Lloyd Kelly or Yildiz, which absence will hurt us more versus Bologna. So for Kelly, I'll go through the scenarios and the options that it poses after. First, we'll talk about which absence actually hurts us more. Which do you believe hurts us more? It's Yildiz for me.
Yeah, it's probably Yildiz.
Because we still need to generate chances. And in creation, he's been huge for Juve in terms of making stuff happen, beating a guy, just asking more defenders to come in and creating space for other guys. That one will hurt more. Definitely.
You don't have a guy on your bench that can readily step in and play that role the way he does, right?
Yeah.
So Chico's maybe the closest one. But again, is he even going to touch the field based on Tudor's stint, right? So,
yeah, and you've got Cope Miners that could become available. That is probably going to hit the pitch. If he becomes available. Tudor will lean that way with him and Nico. Yep. I could see that coming 100 miles away.
Yep.
Is it what I would do? Is it what's best? Slim pickings. Chico's not getting any confidence. What about Adzic?
Nah,
Would you roll the youngster?
No.
No?
There's no way. No. He didn't play against Monza. You're not going to play against. You're definitely not going to play against Bologna, and especially this Bologna.
I think it's actually brutal that we haven't utilized him this season. At least seen like the thing that kills me is that we've literally force-fed guys in the position he naturally plays all year rather than give him shots and give him moments. What about Imbangula there?
When's the last time he played?
Can't even tell you. I can't even remember.
To put him in a game situation like that, a young kid.
He's been great every time called upon, though. He's put in good shifts, good player.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's the one that wouldn't surprise me, if I'm frank. I can't see it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I can see that one happen.
Tudor doesn't strike me as the kind of manager that would play with fire in a game that's that important, to be honest.
Because Imbangula's been dealing with a little bit of a knock or something, and he's kind of been training in and out of the group. But his last appearance was March 16th. That was against Fiorentina.
Yeah.
That was the last time we saw him. So a month and a half, practically.
I've always said there's room for him on this roster. Every time he's played, he's done well. But I don't know. For that sort of absence to come in a game like this, it's a tough ask of a young player, right?
So what do you suggest? What do you go with? Cope Miner's probably going to be available. Cope and Nico behind Kolo Muani?
Listen, you dropped that kind of coin on Cope Miners in the offseason. It's a do or die game. I hate to say it, but you got to put the guy in there, man. Right?
You're not putting Douglas Luiz? You don't want Douglas Luiz?
Man, if you can't get in against Monza, you're not getting...
Yeah.
Because he just sat there all day yesterday. Oh, my God, this guy, man. So we got some decisions to make. How do you feel, though, confidence level going into this Bologna match? Okay, so Bologna and Lazio. Let's ask the question, and everybody in the chat, too. How many points do you see Juve taking in these two back-to-backs that are critical for top four? What do you honestly see happening? And for the back, I should say, because Lloyd Kelly, right now the media's all pumping that Savona comes in. So it's Savona, Vega, Kalulu, or Locatelli drops back. Okay, so those are the two scenarios that the media is talking about. So then you'll have Locatelli, Kalulu, Vega. But this makes no sense to me because then Vega is at his, he is phenomenal at that heart. He's great at the heart of that three-man back. You can't play Locatelli as a left center back or a right center back. He will get burnt for pace the way we play with Tudor. It shouldn't happen. Gatti was supposed to be originally fit for this match we just played against Monza. He is extremely close. And before anything is said on, it would be Savona for me. Savona, Vega, Kelly. If Gatti becomes fit, instantly I play him. I don't even think twice. I'm just going to say that for the back line, okay?
Yeah.
Let's say that those are the options. It's Savona, Vega, Kalulu, or Gatti steps in. And then let's go on the confidence level of these two games coming up. Mas, where are you at on a confidence level? How many points do you think we pull?
I think it's 4, to be honest. I can see us beating Lazio, and I can see us tying Bologna.
Okay. So 4 from Gio. All the points here from Adam. Max points. Mark's saying 4 points. A lot of 4 points out there. 4 points out of 6. 4 points. I was kind of feeling full. Fede Chiesa coming in here, repping his old squad here with the 6. Frankie, how many points do you think we pull?
4. I just think Bologna is a difficult team to play against because how they play, the pressure they put on the opponents. We struggle against teams like that. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard game. We can get a draw. Hopefully, we can get the win. Obviously, I would love to have the 6 points, But I think if we go out of this situation with 4 points, I think it's a good scenario for us, especially with the calendar that we have. We don't have the worst calendar. And the other thing, I don't see Atalanta just being top four no matter what. Frankly, they've been inconsistent. So I wouldn't be surprised if Atalanta drops out of the top four. We'll get 4 points. We're here. We're there with Bologna or with Roma, whoever the team is who's gonna be in top four with us. But I think 4 points would be great for us in this situation.
Yeah, they are. I mean, if you look at Bologna's record against, let's say, the top 5 teams, it's good. It's a good record. And this dates back even, if you want to go into the Monta, but with even Italiano, it's continued. They secured the 1-0 victory against Inter on the 20th. They did lose to Atalanta on the 13th. They drew with Napoli on April 7th. They got a 1-1 draw against us, I believe. They got Roma, I think they actually had a really good game with. But Lazio, they absolutely smashed 5-0. They've got a good record against the top sides. It's not like they're beating up on the teams they need to. Like, they're right there. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. I see the question about asking how we've done historically against Italiano. Not necessarily going to be apples to apples because he was with Spezia for a bit, and then obviously Fiorentina. So it's not really the same, right? So we can't really go. I don't really want to go on that, but Bologna's in good form and they're getting good results against even the top side. So yeah, it's tough. My gut is telling me though, draw and a victory. So Lazio is definitely, I think, out of the teams in that mix, the least convincing out of the teams that are in that mix there. I'm confident in a victory against Lazio. I believe it's going to be a very, very tight match with Bologna. They can strike. They could strike quickly. And for us, it's going to be like, how much do we create against that? The thing is, though, are they going to be as open, as willing? Because we carry some firepower too, right? So if they do want to run and gun, that could bode well for us too. And our guys start to get some space as well. So it's an interesting matchup. Like, we can't sit here and just pump their tires and think that they're not thinking about the firepower we possess, right? The best blueprint against Juve is the low block, and that's been consistent no matter who the hell plays us. In the wide open games, if teams want to run and gun, I'll take my chances. Kolo Muani gets space to run at Bukama, Luca. Let's go. Let him go. Let him rip. Even Nico Gonzalez. Let him rip. You got the space? Okay. Let him rip. So
the first goal is going to be critical, right? For the shape of the game, right?
Yeah. It'll be big. It'll be an interesting game. I'm stoked for that one. We'll see what happens. Top four is it's critical. It's a must. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, interesting stuff. Bologna is going to be very, very difficult. Now Tudor has to make some big decisions. Some big decisions coming up for Tudor. And again, so far, so good for Tudor. I mean, that Parma match was a big, big dud, and I can't wipe that away from my mind. Whether we want to start going at players and coaches, whatever, it just, hey, it's a short period of time that I think was always going to be against Tudor for what he's trying to do. We need to get things right. I already see a question coming in here for Storm the Barn that addresses Antonio Conte. Well, you know, Frankie, you don't come around often enough. If Conte was available, Does it matter what Tudor achieves? Do you jump on the Conte bandwagon again?
Oh, it's hard, man, because Conte is my favorite coach. He is my favorite coach.
Well, there you go.
He's my favorite. But I'll say this: we're not in a situation in which we can just say, "Oh, you're a good coach for us, but we want this guy, so leave." We have not been good choosing coaches. So if Tudor certainly goes and fixes everything and goes to the Club World Cup and he does great, it's hard just to say, no, we want Conte, just leave. And especially when we know that with Conte, you get 1-2 years, then he goes away because that's how it is. I'm not 100% sure. Would I love to see Antonio back? And obviously, because I'll tell you a story. When I went to the stadium and to before the game against Fiorentina, the draw in Allianz, I remember I was taking the tour, and the stadium has the pictures of the captains.
Yeah.
And there was Antonio Conte has his picture, and I remember a guy just saw the picture, and the tour guy was like, "Oh, here we have all the captains, so you can see Antonio Conte," and I just hear the guy just say, "What the fuck is Antonio Conte doing here?" Like, so angry. But man, I'm not sure. I cannot tell you I'm 100%.
Yeah.
I would love to see him back with Juventus, but because
There's
he's
mixed feelings there for sure, and we'll get to that Storm the Barn, and then we'll get everyone's thoughts here. We'll keep some rolling here. Forza Juve says, is Locatelli the most underrated midfielder in the world? I never see any hype for him, not even from Italy. He's been consistently massive for us and been the best regista in the league. Big claim for Forza Juve. I like it. I fought the fight for Locatelli for quite some time, dying on this hill. I think he's a solid midfielder. Would I say that he's the most underrated? He is definitely underrated. I don't know if I'd say he's the best regista in the league, but he's been up there this year for sure. And I've always thought that the hate he gets was mostly unwarranted, to be honest.
The problem with Luca is his game isn't flashy, right? He's not doing stuff out there that draws attention, right?
Yeah.
He does the simple things and he does them really well, but he's never going to make the highlight reel, right?
Yeah. So to a lot of fans, that's what they gauge on. They're looking at number. Like, this guy's been... I remember year one of him joining Juve, and they're just like, man, where's the goals? Where's the assists? I'm like, it's Locatelli. Like, do you know who we just signed? Like, what are you talking about? That's not him. That's not his game, you know? Yeah. And I remember the big thing is like, well, he's got to be like, well, Pirlo was our regista. Now this guy's a regista. So now everybody's got this measurable that every single regista has to be Andrea Pirlo. Oh, I hate to break it to you, but you're going to hate the game of football for quite some time.
No, there's no way. There's no way, man. I do think that what he does, there's not a lot of guys in the world that can do that. There's a lot of big teams. I believe that you drop Locatelli in a lot of big name teams, like, and I'll tell you one, and maybe I sound crazy. Real Madrid doesn't have a player like Locatelli. The kind of player the work that Locatelli does. I'm not saying he's as good as Fede Valverde or other players that Real Madrid have, because they are extraordinary players. But the kind of player Locatelli is, which is a regista, a player that's able to control, they used to have that in Toni Kroos, but they don't have that anymore. So a lot of teams would kill to have a player in that situation. The thing is, he reminds me a lot, not saying he's as good, but Busquets. Busquets was never on the stat sheet. Yeah. Everybody talks about Busquets now that he doesn't play in Barcelona and in Europe anymore, because coaches have spoken about him and people of football talk about how good he was. But if we are talking about when he was at his peak in Barcelona, nobody was talking about Sergio Busquets as one of the best midfielders in the world, and that's something that Locatelli has. The other thing is, I don't know why he's not playing with the Nazionale. I think he should be playing with Italy. That's another discussion. But the kind of player that he is very underrated. Of the world, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm the same.
Very underrated.
Just some stuff like for those of you that, you know, do want to look at stats, look at the stats that kind of matter to him and whatnot. You know, leads all Serie A midfielders with 1,922 completed passes this season. Line-breaking passes, he has delivered the highest number of line-breaking passes in the league at 142. Progressive passing, he's in Europe's top, he ranks second among midfielders in Europe's top 5 leagues for progressive passes with 63, just behind Joshua Kimmich. So, I mean, he's got the right stuff for his role. I do still would like to see him unleash the shot, because you know, he even scored one where he stepped into one just a few games back. Like, get involved, get up there, clean up the garbage. He could still contribute here and there, but for the role that he plays, the numbers that actually matter there are there, backing him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say he's underrated, in my opinion, for sure. We're going to keep it rolling. Tuna. Gil Push just got a red card with Juve Next Gen. Would he still be available to play with the first team if needed for reinforcements? I believe the answer to that is no, but I can't tell you 100%.
I think it's no.
I think it's no. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll serve that ban. I missed one. Here it is. If Conte comes in, how many players do we need to win Serie A? If any? Who are we keeping and who are we not? Who comes in? I mean, I said this all along. I think the roster that we have right now, even like with the injuries and stuff like that, is a roster that's capable to be fighting for top 2. Yeah. I really do believe we're already there. An influence of Conte coming in and maybe with a couple pieces that he might require, I actually think you could be fighting for it. This league has been there for the taking this entire season. That's what's pissed me off the most. Nobody's been convincing. Napoli had a 16-point lead at some point in the season. Like they had a 13-point lead or something at one point.
A very big lead.
Like they had a big lead at one point on the league, and then it just disappeared. And now even Inter, they had their moment where it was theirs, and they've dropped the ball too. Oh, I'm happy for that though. That brings me a lot of happiness there. They were talking treble a week ago, and now now they're all tweeting the season's over. End the season now. Oh my God.
I didn't know if I needed to celebrate the Orsolini goal or not, because I was like, oh yeah, I hate Inter. Yes, they lost. And then I was, but Bologna is, and I was like, let's just win our games. Inter loses. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Well, I was cheering for Inter yesterday, even though it tore me up inside. Right, that Roma win was huge for them, but would have been nice.
I can't do it, man. Even for that, like, let's win out. We still got the gap on Roma. Like, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to cheer for Inter. Absolutely not.
Especially with Sule, because he was with us. So it's like double whammy. I'm like, no.
Yeah. I cannot do it. I just love the fact that they're literally talking treble up until a week ago, and now it's like, end the season. Oh, man, that's music to my ears. Love it. Looks good on them. Percentage chance of Juve getting top 4 considering everything. So I actually I looked at the odds and what everyone's kind of got Juve for top 4. It's very, very high. Very, very strong for Juve to finish in the top 4. I believe Roma is doing a great job with Ranieri. I just don't know if down this stretch with a very difficult schedule, like there's going to be some drop points in there. That'll open the door. Bologna, I also think that they're gonna falter a bit. I think the moment might get away from that roster. And I think we're going to be okay. I think Atalanta's going to maybe find themselves in maybe slipping out. And I wouldn't be surprised if Atalanta drops out and Bologna takes fourth, and we might end up third, to be quite honest. But top four, I'm still feeling okay. Even with this whole Yildiz thing in the back line. Actually, I still feel okay. And I believe we're going to get there. Are we going to get there, Mas?
Who the heck knows?
You have
the way this season has gone.
You put the pink slip up for your ride right now, and it depends on Juve getting top four.
Listen, I think we can do it, but if the season has taught us anything, it's what Juve is going to show up, and strange things will happen. So.
I wouldn't be surprised by this from Trim, man. Napoli, Inter, Juve, Bologna. I would not be surprised if Atalanta's been going back to that Jekyll and Hyde of old, man. You got to put the pink slip up, Frankie, on your ride, your whip. Are you doing it? Juve gets top four?
Yeah, we're going to get top four. Yeah. We're going to get top four, but I'll say this. I trust more Roma, even though they have a horrendous schedule. I trust more Roma than Atalanta and maybe that Bologna, because what Ranieri has done with that team is incredible.
It is crazy.
Nobody was thinking about Roma in Europe conversations. Not talking about top four. Europe conversations. When the season started, everybody was talking about Roma just being out of Europe. And now they have been the best team in 2025 in Serie A.
Yeah.
So I think we get top three, and I give Roma gets the 4 spot.
Yeah. I'm not ready to write off Atalanta, to be honest. They're a very streaky team, but I think when it comes down to it, Gasperini is going to get them back on track.
Just to remind everybody, for Roma, you've got Fiorentina, Atalanta, Milan, Torino to finish up the 4 matches. So, be difficult there for them. For Atalanta, their remaining matches are Monza, Roma, Genoa, Parma. So pretty good one there for Atalanta. We'll see how it all plays out, everybody. It's gonna be fun to watch down the wire here. Let's see, what do we got? Tuna coming in. Kolomuani loan and option to buy if the price is right. David or Luca as the B option, with Kristovic as the C option. Thoughts? We already kind of tackled this one, and I'm on the fence with the whole Kolomuani thing. Jonathan David, for me, if he's willing to give in on the demands a bit and wants to come, I would definitely sign Jonathan David. I know the hits against him, the knocks against him, playing in that league, etc. But his numbers across with measurables for the top 5 European leagues are there, and Champions League numbers. So that's a big thing. If you want to take a doc on leagues, look at Champions League, because he's right there. So for me, he's probably the top option for me out of the guys that are being mentioned. Luca, I would take as plan a good 1B. I'm thinking David 1A, Luca 1B. I'm okay with Kristovic, though. Either one of those two. I don't know. That's all I got.
I can work with that. I do, but I do, as I said, for me, Retegui is number 1. I understand the whole Atalanta. Believe me, I am scared of Atalanta players too. But I like Retegui a lot. As an operation, obviously, the Jonathan David operation would be much better because it's economically more feasible for Juventus, and it gives you the room to get another player. But when we talk about as a player, just as a talent, I know Jonathan David is a great talent, but I much rather have Retegui.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair. Biggest flop at Juve this year? broadcast said Colt Miners, but to me,
No.
it's Douglas Luiz by a mile. Who's the biggest flop? Douglas Luiz?
Douglas Luiz.
I'd actually say Thiago Motta was the biggest flop.
Oh well, that's
by 100,000 miles. Yeah, it would have to be Luiz, man. Like, holy smokes, this guy was balling out for a couple of years there in the Prem, and again, never injured since like 2021. Welcome to J Medical. Him and Milik became best friends because they can live together pretty much this year. So, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, at least Coop's been on the field, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't shown us anything, but he's been able to play.
Yeah. And he has had good games at least. Douglas Luiz, the only thing he has done is gotten red cards. Red cards here, penalty here. Horrible. If we could fire Douglas Luiz, we would probably fire Douglas Luiz before Thiago Motta.
Yeah. Chris coming in. Oh, it's got me to start off. This might be bad. Let's see. Alberto, you keep describing Italiano as the best coach for you. How do I do that? Oh, for creation in the final third. But keep saying that you want Conte. I told you yesterday, Conte 2.0 will be like Allegri 2.0. It could, but I have little doubts about that actually happening. Conte proved a lot. I said this, I've been saying this time and time again. He crossed a lot of cons that are on his list off with the work he's done this year at Napoli. A few big knocks I had against him went away this season with what he's done in Napoli. As far as creation goes in the final third with Italiano, there are good results for Bologna there, but struggling to score and create against lower sides as well that clamp down and are organized there. So I don't think Italiano just corrects everything, and he's exactly who Juve needs. I've been saying this all along, and I stand firm. And I'm okay for the disagreements. I love the discussions, okay? There's a lot of calls for a red card here, Chris. A lot of calls for you getting a red card in the chat. A lot of calls for the red card saying that Conte 2.0 would be like Allegri 2.0. It's, for me, you have this coach that we took a chance on with Motta. I have Tudor in that same group. It's a chance. I have Italiano in that same group. A chance. If you have the opportunity to get a guy that's proven, has history, a track record, and is deemed an elite manager, at Juve right now, I think the experience is massive to bring in. And I stand firm. Anything to add to that, boys?
Yeah, I think signing Italiano at this point would be similar to what we did with Sadi, right? You're looking for a guy to revolutionize, play more offensive, better style of play. That's totally not what we need right now, right? You nailed it. In terms of players, in terms of manager, we need experience. We need a winner, right? So as much as I'm a little hesitant on Conte just because I don't like repeats, to be honest.
I'm with you there, but yeah.
He seems to be, of the options out there right now, he seems to be the best one out there. So,
yeah. I love the red card element, though, now, and the chat's starting to dish him out. They're not even waiting for me, but we love Chris. We love the opinions. We love the difference. Hey, I understand. And, dude, Frankie talked about it. Being at the stadium, there are fans with strong emotions against Antonio Conte. I understand it. I get it. But for me, I've seen a guy that tried to come back twice already. This would be the third time if the rumors are true and he actually is opening himself up again to come back. He wanted to come back last summer. We went the Motta route. He wanted to come back before he went to Inter. That's why he didn't even agree until late when he signed with them. Because Agnelli, it wasn't happening for him. That's why he flipped the bird, and everybody wants to lose it on him and, oh, you're anti-Juve, all this. No, that was Agnelli and Conte. This would be the third time, if he makes himself available, we said no, and I don't know.
Well, and he's already starting to drop little nuggets in the media, right? I mean, all season long he's been pretty quiet, but now all of a sudden it's, we'll see when the season ends. We'll see how it plays out.
We'll see.
So there might be something to that, right?
And they were singing a song about if you don't jump your Juventino. He went out and said, my past. I'm from Juventus, and he spoke good about the club. So he's been trying. He's been trying to come back.
Yeah. We've got Giardina here. With Kelly out, would you maybe try a 4-man defense again? Because then you'll need only 2 center backs. I'm not that fearful of it. I'm okay if Savona has to step in with Kalulu and Vega. I'm okay with that. So I wouldn't switch what they're doing right now when they're finding rhythm. No. And I mean, we have to be serious here. Just because these guys haven't started or whatnot, do we think they haven't trained in this setup? Like through these training sessions or whatever? They're not coming in blind. Like, what do I do? Where do I play? No, it's not going to be like that, right? So I do not switch it up. I don't switch the formation. Guys agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Keep it the same? Yeah. Mas, keep it the same? Okay.
It's not the game to do it.
Yeah. When is Jurassic Skanga coming back? Oh, yeah, Skang. We haven't seen Skang in a bit. So we have to wait for him to get released. Yeah. He was cruising around somewhere in Ontario there. Forgot to put his pants on at that old age, right? So, he got tackled for indecent exposure. So we're just waiting for him to be released. Oh, yeah. And that's the beauty when you don't show up for these shows. I could say whatever the hell I want. There you go, Skanga. Good morning. Now we got, is Kelly the biggest scapegoat of the season? Never seen so much vitriol and hatred towards a player who doesn't entirely deserve it. You know what? Is he the biggest scapegoat?
Yeah.
Well, what makes him probably the biggest scapegoat is the obligation, right? That's the problem. You have a defender who may not be at the level of Juve that we have to purchase outright, right? And I think that was the knock on him coming in, right?
Yeah. Gio flat out deserves it. Matt just don't like him, never will. Simple as. Mark Kelly is a total flop, and it is not hatred. I think it's what he represents, to be honest. I think it's like the situation that just everybody was so mad at players that had left and whatever, and then this guy comes in. I've always said the price tag he'd come in, I mean, it's got some bad optics around it when it's slightly more than what you sold Chiesa for. You know what I mean? It's like slightly more than what you sold Huijsen for. But in the grand scheme of things, they're all cheap prices. They're all Happy Meal prices in the world of football that don't really matter. It's chump change in the world of football. And yeah, we sold those guys for chump change. We picked him up for chump change. He was a safety net signing. Literally, That's it. The measurables that we're holding him to, I don't know. He's not as bad. At left back, he was as bad as everybody's making out. That was terrible. That was brutal. Would never play him there ever again. At left center back in a back three, he's serviceable. He can do a job. He can be that safety net guy. Is he ever going to be something big? I don't think so. And you didn't pay for somebody that's going to be big or huge prospect or anything like that. It's literally a safety net signing. I'm not super attached to that guy. I don't think he's really a scapegoat. I think he's a representation of a lot of fans' frustration. He's the face of the business that the majority of the fans don't agree with. That's how I see it. I don't think he'll ever shake it.
No, and I think if Dean Huijsen didn't exist, he would not get the hate he gets. Dean Huijsen, the situation with Dean Huijsen has a lot to do with all the hate he gets, because we let a guy like Dean Huijsen go, and he's probably gonna be one of the best, the biggest transfers when we talk about this next transfer window, because how good he is. But he's not good, great, but he's not that as bad as the hate he's getting. He's not that.
He's not to that degree. Not since playing at left center back. But again, would it have been different if... and Suarez, take it easy, man. Take it easy. I just said because the price tag was more. The price tag was more than what we sold Fede with. Relax. If our pickups would have done better, the guys we were talking about, Cope Miners, Louise, would we have gone that hard in? Because Juntali was taking so much heat, and then those moves, Kelly being one of them, all got lashed out at, especially Lloyd Kelly. Would it have been as bad even if those pickups have gone good? Because Juntali has taken so much heat, right? He's the face of the business that the majority of the fan base deems to be awful. That's how I see it. I don't personally feel like he's been as bad as it's made out to be. But there are some that say, I can't believe he's a footballer. And I don't believe he should be one. So, to each their own. I feel a card coming on, everybody. I feel a card coming on. Something tells me. I bought some new sneakers yesterday. And when I came home to open up the box, there were no shoes. I guess they forgot to put the pair in.
Red card.
No.
I'll go yellow on this one, not straight red. Frankie's going straight red. Moss, you're the tiebreaker. I'm yellow.
Adam, you know how I feel about dad jokes, buddy. I love it. Good job.
No.
Okay, so he's good with it. Frankie's got red. I got yellow. We'll just keep it yellow. Ring of Winter says straight red. Beat it.
No.
Beat it.
Red.
I actually love this game now. Oh my God. Entire season or straight red.
Come on. I drop jokes like this with my kids all day long.
Whose band's gonna be longer, Yildiz or Adam? Holy smokes. Tough crowd.
Adam.
Will a Europa League position, 5th place in table, save Tudor for extending his stay at Juve? I would say 4th place or change.
4th place or change.
I don't think he stays regardless, to be honest. I think either way we're going to have a new coach next year. Even if he hits top 4.
I think it depends.
Or Conte.
If it's not Conte, I actually can see Tudor staying.
Agree. Completely.
If it's not Conte, I believe he stays. Because what if it's literally out there for us? Juve's happy with what Tudor's doing. They have no issues with him whatsoever. But you have some in there that want Conte. They want Conte's return. It's all on that. Like, I don't think they're going to say goodbye to Tudor because it was such a mess with him coming in. If we might maybe miss out for Pioli, they're not going to say no to Tudor for. They're not going to say no. And Mancini's out of the question. And I say good, to be honest. He's with Sampdoria there. I don't see it. I think it's Conte or Tudor remains. I really do feel that way.
Completely agree.
And I'm actually
as we stand now, we don't know how it's going to play out in the summer. We don't know who's going to become available.
Ancelotti's going to Brazil.
Yeah.
And Zidane wants France.
Yeah, Zidane has. Everybody's trying to get Zidane this, Zidane that. Zidane doesn't want Juventus. People, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's machine gun some of these. We'll maybe let one or two answer. Maybe I am pessimistic, but I think we'll get a draw versus Lazio and a loss to Bologna. It's unfortunate fact that we don't belong in top 4. I don't believe we don't belong in top 4. I've said all the teams are unconvincing. What do you guys have for thoughts on this one? We belong in top 4 just as much as any. Yeah.
I think the league in its entirety has been sort of underwhelming this year, right? So,
yeah. And we've been just as underwhelming, so we belong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with that. Who gets the post match day? Bianco. For whatever the hell he did to suck Yildiz in, he can get one of these right there. It's got to be Bianco.
Gotta be Bianco.
Can we talk about the ref yesterday? Can we? That's my.
I told you guys on the pregame show. We always talk about the officials. This guy, 41 matches in Serie B, 5.1 yellows per game, like 12 reds, 10 PKs. He had 3 games Serie A experience before this one.
Totally unhinged in the second half. Like he just lost
consistency. No consistency, man. These guys, man. These guys. That's what we're going to see, though, whenever we play those lower sides. It's been like that all year. They try to get their Serie A experience by playing whenever a big team plays a lower side. And they still botch it sometimes. If Conte wins the league, do the chances of him leaving go down or not? I honestly believe nothing changes.
No, I do think that if he wins and De Laurentiis gets some players, the chances of him get lower.
I don't think winning the title changes anything. I think it all comes down to this little pissing match that's developed between him and ADL. He wants ADL to give him what he wants. If he doesn't get it, if he doesn't see that strong investment, he walks, and it doesn't matter that they win the Scudetto.
Well, let's remember, Spalletti left the year after they won too, right? So
yeah,
ADL has that history, right?
Will he make the same mistake twice, though?
No,
I don't think so.
because I see him more quiet this year because he knows.
Yeah.
He knows if he loses another coach that wins the Scudetto, the people of Napoli are gonna kill him.
Yeah. Arrange the following mutts from number 1 to 5. Sorry, look at this guy. Rudiger, Mina, Male, Malinovsky, Itzo. Okay, from 1 to 5. Oh, who takes 1? Malinovsky 1.
Malinovsky? Well, he killed us.
He's an idiot. Rudiger 2.
Why is Rudiger even on there?
He's a mutt. I can't stand the guy. He's a mutt.
But we would take him in a second.
Itzo's got to be 2 or 3, to be honest. So let's throw him at 3. Yari, Mina, and then Male will go last. That's 1 to 5. Hate them all. Get them. We are Juventus, a 19-year-old missing. We play Bologna. Get the 3 points. Stop crying. Make those guys Juventus players, for God's sakes. Simple and true. You know, but based on the history of play, I mean, we can all sit here and say, you're Juventus play, but words can only do so much. We got to figure it out on the pitch, and creation is big. And yeah, whether he's 19 or 29, I'd love to have him in that lineup. But I'm sure we'll be okay without. It's going to be fine, everybody. How much do you value Vega to come to Juve? I am not happy with Vega. We deserve much better. Whew. I would take him in a heartbeat. What's a price tag you're willing to spend on Vega? Chat? Guys?
30?
I'd even
30?
go up to 40. I'd go up to 40.
I have 35 as kind of my number in mind. I'm thinking 35 is what he's worth. You know?
30.
But
I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Like, we deserve better. I don't know what Mark's seen that's kind of put him off, to be honest. I think he's been
solid.
Consistent to overly consistent. Yeah. So I don't know.
The thing is,
Yeah.
we're gonna get a lot
Players.
of players back also, because you still got the Kelly is on a permanent deal. You're gonna get back Bremer. You're gonna get back Cabal.
Yeah.
Cabal too. Yeah.
That's the thing. The problem is not Renato Vega. The problem is, are you going to invest 35-40 millions on a player on a position that you already have some defenders? You're gonna get Rugani back, and you're gonna get Gonzalez back. So there's a lot of
Right, but
defenders.
of the people that are coming back, Vega's better than all of them, right? I would put Vega starting beside Bremer. So I would make decisions with those other players.
I would have time. I don't know.
If we
I
kept
think,
Vega, I would have Vega and Bremer play as your.
yeah,
Are we playing in a back three though?
exactly. But because
Yeah,
if we're
fair.
playing a back three, I would want to see Cabal playing in that left center back role because everybody's killing Cabal, but Cabal was playing as a left back.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
I thought he was
position.
fine as a left back too, to be honest.
Yeah.
I actually didn't have any problems with him. But left center back, Vega also plays as a left back. He's played center back since he's come here because of our needs. But left center back, him, Bremer in the heart, and then right center back, even Gatti, like, I'm okay with that. You've got Cabal in the ranks too. You've got Kalulu in the ranks. Like, I mean, Kalulu could maybe swat out as an actual right wing back because I see him more as a fullback, but he could play right center role. Vega, Bremer, Kalulu. I like these combinations. I even like Rugani being in the mix.
Yeah.
30 to 35, I'm cool with on Vega. If we start talking more, then I don't know. Then I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. So far, so good for Vega. We need it to continue. Bologna's on deck, and the race for top four is heating up. We're going to be right there down to the wire. It might be a crazy finish, but we got some big ones that are here to kick off May. Bologna and then Lazio. Let's see. The injury rundown is going to be interesting to follow this week because of obviously the absentees and stuff. But Gatti's super, super close. And will Tudor surprise us with the lineup? I don't think so. Colt Miners, keep an eye on him coming back. Keep an eye on Gatti coming back, and we'll be there every day to follow. This show was a lot of fun, though. We even dished out some red cards. The chat was firing out reds. Love to see it. Adam, great stuff, buddy. I love it. I look forward to it now on every live show, all right? And blue cards. The chat reminded me, I'm going to have to come up with blue cards because now all of a sudden that might be a thing. There's some leagues that are already incorporating blue cards. I like the yellow and red. I'm a traditionalist, okay? Let's keep it old school. Keep it old school. But you guys have been an absolute blast. Don't forget to like the video, okay? Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Mas, Frankie, absolute pleasure, lads. Okay?
Nice, guys.
We'll be there every step of the way, and let's see as the chase for top four continues. All right? Everybody, take care. It's Monday. Victory Monday. Took care of business. Now we got to take care of Bologna next. As always, no matter what, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.